Asynchronous loading of content is practically a given these days. Often what you're doing is reloading a small subsection of the page, but it would still be nice to be able to show some type of loading message or spinner here too. There are certainly multiple ways to solve this problem, and we're not focusing on the actual async operation here. We're sticking with the UI aspects. But I think the ng template approach is about the easiest. We start with our conditional for the ng if, which in this case is our asynchronous observable, and here we're telling Angular to store the results in the cust template local variable. Before the observable is complete, my observable is null, which is falsy, so the ng if loads the loader template, which contains a component to show a loader message or a spinner or whatever we need. When the observable returns something, my observable is no longer null, so the ng if switches to display the inline template, in which we can use the cust variable to access properties of the object returned from our observable. There's a couple of moving parts here, so let's break it down in our sample application. We're looking at the UI aspects of asynchronous loading, not the actual mechanics of how you go about loading something asynchronously. Like I said, we're focusing strictly on just the user interface experience. So when I take and load up my async loader widget, you'll notice that it displays a loading message until my information is available. So you could have an image there or whatever you wanted. I just have text to try to keep things simple. And the nice thing is that getting this is really, really easy. Taking a look at my HTML, starting down the bottom, I have my template that defines what information I want displayed while I'm waiting for the asynchronous call to return. So here's where I just specify the text loading. You could put an image in here, a countdown, whatever you wanted. Up above this, I have my ng container where I'm going to be putting my content. And this is the real meat of my component. But what I start with is an ng if hooked up to my observable using the async pipe. And until the observable comes back, until that call resolves, this is going to be undefined, which is falsy, which means that the ng if is going to load or is going to use the loader template. Once my observable has returned, then it would have a value. It now becomes truthy, and it's going to display the information in the inline template. I can specify the context variable so that I can reference it here just using simple interpolation. Inside my code, I have an observable. Now, I just have this set up for the demo with a simple timeout. But if you were making a call back to a server to retrieve the data, whenever you call observer.next, when your data has returned, that's when the loading message is going to disappear. So a very easy, kind of clever approach to displaying a loading message to users while you're waiting for content to come back from an asynchronous call.